Welcome, beloved. Welcome, family, to my channel at Claire Bonareri. Kindly remember to subscribe, comment, share, and like. We are talking about sitting in the counsel of the ungodly, or the counsel of wickedness, or the counsel of the scornful. Sometimes we do mistakes as Christians or believers. We sit in such a kind of counsels thinking that even if we didn't comment, we didn't talk or say anything, we are going to be scot-free. No! Remember the case of Miriam and Aaron. They were speaking about the wife that Moses married. Moses had married an Ethiopian woman, that's a black woman. And then they were just talking about Moses, his wife. In fact, they were gossiping. When the wrath of God was rekindled against Miriam and Aaron by talking about the servant of the Lord, Miriam was stricken with leprosy, but Aaron wasn't, because the glory covering of the Lord was upon Aaron. Sometimes we do sit in the ungodly counsels in our workplaces, in our family, during our leisure times, and forget that what God requires from us is to stand for righteousness, is to represent Him well. It happens in our workplaces, it happens in our homes, it happens in our families, it happens in the marketplace, all over the place. But remember, what is your place in such a kind of counsels? That takes us to the book of Psalms, chapter 1. And I read, "Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the way of sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful. But his delight is in the law of the Lord, and in his law doth he meditate day and night. And he shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water, and bringeth forth his fruit in his season. His leaf also shall not wither, and whatsoever he does shall prosper. The ungodly are not so, but are like the chaff, which the wind driveth away. Therefore the ungodly shall not stand in the judgment, nor sinners in the congregation of the righteous. For the Lord knoweth the way of the righteous, but the way of the ungodly shall perish." Sometimes there is a common saying that tell me your friends, I tell you your character. You cannot pretend to be sitting in such a kind of counsels and go scot-free. What's your place as a child of God, as a believer? If the wrath of God comes, sometimes you may be spared like Aaron was spared, and sometimes you may not, depending on the way or on the place you maintain with God. Let us be righteous. Let us represent God well. Let us avoid a lot of hypocrisy, pretense, or sometimes self-righteousness. If you find yourself in the counsel of the ungodly, try to make things right. Try to expose darkness. Try to share the light of God in such a kind of counsels, or else just keep off from such a kind of counsels. If you cannot stand what they are saying, or you cannot expose the light of God in the darkness that is maintained in such a kind of counsels. Meditate on the law of the Lord day and night. That's what the Psalmist is telling us in chapter 1, verse 2 of Psalms. That when you meditate on the law of the Lord day and night, God is going to be pleased with you. Because the law of the Lord, when you uphold it, is going to shed light on most things, and it's going to help you hold reverence on whatever things that are said in such a kind of counsels, and what you are expected to do as a child of God. Remember that when you maintain the law of God and meditate on it day and night, that's why we see people like the Muslims, we see like our brothers like the Catholics and all other denominations or religious gatherings have something we call the rosary that has some kind of beads or rings. It was meant to ensure that such a kind of believers, they meditate on the law of the Lord day and night. And such a kind of rosaries or rings or beads, they are used as a symbolic way of meditating on the law of the Lord. Not necessarily you have the rosary or the beads or something, but you can meditate on the law of the Lord day and night at the back of your mind. Just remember what God says about sitting in the counsel of the ungodly. When you sit in the counsel of the ungodly, remember there is judgment of God. God is saying in verse 5 that therefore the ungodly shall not stand in the judgment, nor sinners in the congregation of the righteous. You cannot stand in the judgment of God, nor in the congregation of righteous. And if you maintain righteousness, what does God say? God says that when you meditate on His law day and night and avoid such a kind of counsels, you are going to be like a tree planted by the rivers of water that's going to bring fruit in season, and your leaves shall not wither, and whatsoever you do shall prosper. Just meditating on the law of the Lord day and night. Whatever you do, it shall prosper. Whatever you lay your hands on, it shall prosper. But if you do otherwise, there is the judgment of the Lord against you. For the Lord knoweth our doings from afar, and the ways of the ungodly, God says, they shall perish. And I'm sure you do not want to perish. Also, equally, I do not want to perish. Wherever we are, let us represent God. Let us be the light of the world. Let us ensure that there is no darkness in the offices where we are, by rebuking darkness, by renouncing darkness, by standing firm on the laws of the Lord day and night, without fear or without any form of manipulation. Do not fall in the counsel of the ungodly. You find that you are in a meeting or in a board meeting, in a meeting in your workplace, wherever, in the marketplace, in the business place, wherever you are, it depends on the institution where you are. But things are not done in the right way, and you are there seated as a child of God. You do not want to say something or to shed light on such a kind of things that you find ungodly, but you are just keeping quiet. Remember, you are guilty